Dracule Mihawk, the elegant and elusive pirate who holds the title of World's Strongest Swordsman in the piratical world of One Piece, inspires intrigue and curiosity. We know little about him aside from his strange yellow eyes, his wide-brimmed black hat, and the legendary sword Yoru, which he carries behind his back at all times. Other than that, Mihawk's story is shrouded in mystery, making his character incredibly alluring to those of us who love to make fan theories for a living. In this video then, we will be exploring a very interesting question. What if Mihawk was placed in the world of Demon Slayer, a grim world caught between the existential battle between humans and ghoulish demons? What would Mihawk's role be in this world, and what sort of interesting changes would take place in the world inhabited by Tanjiro and his friends by the presence of this superbly strong entity? The man known as the Demon Hunter moves like a shadow that lurks behind all the Hashira and the entirety of the Demon Slayer corps. Not many know his background, and those who know refuse to speak about him out of respect for this wise, yet elusive sage. However, that hasn't stopped people from piecing together whatever story they can out of their limited knowledge, creating a frightening mythology that all corps members are introduced to as a rite of passage. Some say he's as frightening to Muzan as the late Yorichi, while others say he possesses a unique ability not known to any in the Demon Slayer realm. It is even said that, unless you're a Hashira, you cannot physically survive in his presence without fainting. What is known, however, is that he has been part of the corps since time immemorial, perhaps since the time of Yorichi himself. The nickname this man named Dracule Mihawk is acquired also has its origins within that time, when he is said to have been the most ruthless Hashira ever known, someone who went to extreme ends to kill as many demons as he could lay his hands on. This is all Tanjiro, Nezuko, Zenitsu, and Inosuke knew about Mihawk when they joined the corps. The Hashiras they encountered, especially Giyu, Rengoku, and Tokito, spoke very admirably yet cautiously about Mihawk, careful not to overshare and disrespect their mentor. They were informed that his position is in an unofficial role as he serves as the teacher to all the Hashira, guiding them in their training and strategies. The crew had always been very excited to one day be able to meet this individual, but as time went by, they almost forgot about his existence as Mihawk never made a public appearance. Though his name always raised a few eyebrows, the corps members had resigned themselves to the fact that they themselves would never be able to meet the mighty Demon Hunter. That is, until the Mugan Train incident. It is yet unknown why Mihawk decided to intervene in what was a relatively modest affair up until the arrival of Akaza. It is not known whether he was aware of Akaza's imminent arrival, but it is true that his presence saved Rengoku and Tanjiro's crew from an inevitable and untimely death. He appeared like the blowing of a gust of wind, out of nowhere and with terrifying elegance. Akaza sensed the strange aura that exuded from him, and upon looking at his yellow eyes, the ground beneath him seemed to crumble as he fell to his knees, stuttering about how the mighty Mihawk was supposed to have died decades ago. You! Those eyes! You were the man they call Demon Hunter! Ah, Rengoku, I must admit I'm a little disappointed. You can't handle this pest? Replied Mihawk while ignoring Akaza. The Hashira lowered his eyes as Akaza continued to tremble. The battle was over as quickly as it started as Mihawk used his strange aura to freeze Akaza in position, and then took out an ordinary knife saying, "I do not hunt rabbits with a cannon," before slicing him into a million different pieces, eventually killing the upper moon Kizuki as the sun dawned. No one knew why he arrived, but it became impossible to hide his presence after this incident. Tanjiro and his crew were insistent that such a powerful entity could easily destroy Muzan and rid the world of demons, while Rengoku was speechless for a few days. Accepting their demand, Mihawk finally decided to make his appearance public, revealing himself in all his glory as the elegant Hashira above Hashiras, who was the greatest swordsman in the world. However, just as expected, his physical appearance caused many such as Zenitsu to faint, while others like Tanjiro and Nezuko struggled to keep their wits about them. The man had a hawk-like grace about him, and it felt as though they were floating in mid-air while in his almost demonic presence. It is there that Tanjiro and Nezuko discover the power of Haki, or internal will, the power through which Mihawk's physical presence becomes so debilitating and powerful. The demon hunter was able to discover this human strength during his swordsmanship training with the members of the Kamado clan, which he had grown quite close to after the death of Yorichi. Tanjiro's eyes blew a light as he heard Mihawk speak of his family in such glowing terms. But Mihawk stopped his stream of words when his eyes fell upon Tanjiro, and he immediately shifted the topic to something else. This was an incredibly iconic event in the history of the corps, as the mythical Hawkeye finally made his public appearance. It was here that he revealed that the time had come for the battle between humans and Muzan's vengeful crusade to come to its final stage. It was for this reason that he had come out of hiding and was willing to collaborate with all the Hashiras as allies. Though the strongest slayers in the world, the Hashiras had become terrified by this prospect of Mihawk fighting in the public. They held him in immensely high regard since he was essentially the mentor of them all and were afraid that his death would break the morale of the Hashiras. Furthermore, his appearance posed dangers since it would incite Muzan to act erratically and irrationally, afraid as he was of Mihawk's ability. The rest of the corps were shocked at these statements and required explanation. Mihawk explained that during his time with Yorichi, the two had fought a very bloody battle with Muzan and Yorichi's brother, who had turned into a Kizuki. During this event, Mihawk almost killed both Muzan and Kokushibo, the two only surviving the onslaught of him and Yorichi by fleeing for their lives. What was more surprising was that following this battle, Mihawk stopped appearing in the public. Mihawk was very stoic and casual while recounting the story, proclaiming that he had become disillusioned with the world and had lost the emotional capacity to care about it following Kokushibo's betrayal. He spent the remainder of his life serving Yorichi's dream in the shadows. The only question that remained was why Mihawk has lived as long as he did. To this, there was no answer. Following these revelations, Tanjiro made it his mission to remain close to Mihawk and find out the truth about his relationship to the Kamado clan and his ability to retain his humanity despite being a demon. During the decisive battle at the entertainment district, Tanjiro has vivid dreams of Sumiyoshi Kamado, the first of the clan and the man who developed the sun-breathing technique. When he described to Mihawk the man's physical appearances that looked almost identical to Tanjiro himself, the demon hunter showed a rare display of emotional vulnerability. However, he quickly concealed it before asking Tanjiro, "Ha! You tell me you're related to that guy? You couldn't even defeat Akaza!" It is then that Tanjiro discovered how Mihawk became close to Sumiyoshi following his turn to a demon. Just as Tanjiro was now taking care of his sister Nezuko, Sumiyoshi took care of him following the death of Yorichi. He took him in, treated him like a friend, and managed to teach him the art of haki, which was the prerequisite to the sun-breathing style, which Sumiyoshi would later master for the Kamado clan. Through haki, Mihawk developed an intensely close and intimate relationship with his soul following his detachment with the material world. It allowed him such control that he could physically manipulate the matter close to him just through his latent inner energy. After their heartfelt conversation about Sumiyoshi, Mihawk decided to take in Tanjiro and Nezuko and teach them the art of haki as well, since their connection to the Kamado clan would make them perfect candidates for inheriting that ability. Tanjiro and Nezuko's training became much more intense around the time Muzan discovered Nezuko's immunity to the sun, after which he made it the sole mission of the Kizuki to capture her. Mihawk, though exceptionally cruel in his training, had a soft spot for the young Nezuko, in whom he saw his own old struggling self. He especially wanted her to learn haki and overcome her demonic limitations by turning them into a strength. No one in the world wants to be human more than the demons, Mihawk used to tell them, and once they became one, nothing can stop them. Absolutely nothing. Mihawk had, around the time the Hashiras started training the members of the corps for the final battle against Muzan, became much more involved in the training of all demon slayers. He gave swordsmanship lessons to Tanjiro and Zenitsu while giving tactical advice to the likes of Rengoku and Gyu. He had, though he hated to admit it, become the sole and only successor to the great Yorichi. Before the final battle began, Muzan and the Kizuki had made elaborate plans to isolate and kill Mihawk, seeing him as the paramount threat to their existence. Though he badly wanted him dead, Muzan couldn't dare to actually confront Mihawk face to face. Never had he been terrified of a man to such a degree. The same was the case with Kokushibo, who had received battle scars from Mihawk that continued to impact his body. Fortunately for them, Mihawk was nearing the natural end of his life. Though he had massively prolonged it because of his intimate hockey ability, Mihawk had, by the end of the training regimen of all the corps, realized that his life mission is now complete. He had become exhausted, physically and mentally, and according to his casual taunts, he didn't want to steal the spotlight from all the new rabbits in the corps, pointing towards Tanjiro as he said this. When it became clear that the final battle was starting any day, Mihawk challenged Tanjiro to a sword fight in private. There, they sparred for hours as Mihawk dictated a potential strategy they could use for their battle against Muzan. Tanjiro was confused as to why Mihawk would entrust him with such a significant mission, but the latter was insistent that only the Kamado's sun breathing technique, combined with Nezuko's newfound Conqueror's haki, could overcome Muzan. At the end of this spar, Mihawk's Yoru slackened and swung upwards before falling down in front of Tanjiro. In my hundreds of years on this planet, not once has this sword touched the ground. Tanjiro Kamado, you are ready. He now was addressing all Hashira. My disciples, he said, it is time. I won't join you in this fight, for it is not mine. You are the Hashira, and it is time to fulfill your duty and rid the land of this curse named Muzan. I believe in you. And thus, it was time for the final battle. Every warrior was as ready as they could be. A final goodbye was due. All Hashira knelt before Mihawk, expressing insurmountable gratitude. Satisfied with his students and their capability to subdue the approaching threat, Mihawk graced a smile and vanished like a gust of wind. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell to be notified of any latest uploads. See you in the next one.